Welcome to What Car Should You Buy, a new weekly show where we debate what car you should buy, and then YouTube commenters tell us how their brother's sister's cousin-in-law made thousands of dollars working from home. I'm your host, Doug DeMuro, and tonight's topic is cheap speed. And I'm not talking about the kind I took with my roommate at that Jimmy Eat World concert back in college. Play the middle, Jimmy! Play the middle! It used to be that if you wanted to go fast, but you hadn't yet gotten that promotion to manager of Radio Shack, your choices were limited to muscle cars with suspensions borrowed from farm equipment, or cars with the sex appeal of farm equipment. But now we're overwhelmed with choices. Ford makes two cheap hot hatches. Both Toyota and Subaru offer a rear-wheel drive coupe, and the GTI is once again a world-class performer. It's a great time to be alive, and not just because you can use your cell phone to answer email from the toilet. Let's talk cars. We're talking cheap performance cars on this week's episode, so I've invited the cheapest person I know, Travis Okulski, who has promised not to only recommend me Mazda MX-5 Miata. Hi, Travis.
Hey, Doug. Thank you for having me in your mom's basement, and thank you for putting a picture of me on the wall.
Anytime. Also with me is Classic Car Club Manhattan Fleet Manager and Jalopnik contributor Aaron Brown, a man that I'm pretty sure has never spent more than $19 on an automobile. Now, Travis, you did the bests guide for Jalopnik for performance cars, and you had 3 Fords on the list, 2 of which weren't the Mustang. What's going on there?
What's going on there is the Mustang's not the best bargain because the deal was below $30,000. So the only Mustang you can get for less than $30,000 is the V6, which you don't want, or the EcoBoost, which you do want until you put enough options on it, and then it becomes a $32,000 car. So doesn't get to be a good car until it's more than our budget. So we can't recommend that. And then the Focus ST is just kind of big and not as good as the Fiesta ST, which is a fun little puppy of a car. And I know you disagree with me on this, and I think you're wrong.
Yeah, don't you find that the Focus ST is actually the better of the 2 cars?
If I did, I wouldn't have just said what I said.
The Focus ST has more power. And you know what you get when you have more power? You get more speed.
Well, yes, if you want to.
Speed? Objectively,
it's not like you to be a simpleton, Dan, but if you want to break it, actually, it's very much like you. But if you want to break it down that way, then yes. But the Fiesta ST is more fun because it's not as fast. So you can drive what you perceive are quicker on the roads, yet it's not necessarily quicker. You can run it out in more gears. You can take it into a corner and not be going faster, but feel like you're going faster.
Yeah, but it's not like we're talking about the Focus ST has 600 horsepower. Damn, there's 250 horsepower. It's not like it's going to kill you.
The Fiesta is also smaller, which means you need less power. So it could
Focus torque steers. It's ugly.
It barely torque steers. They did such a great job removing the torque steer from that car.
The steering kind of sucks.
No.
And if anyone who says...
The seats are too comfortable. I hate my Ford Touch. Yeah, I know.
And people who say it oversteers in corners don't know what oversteer is.
Yeah.
So
people say that?
Yeah.
Really?
People do say that.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely not the case. But it maybe understeers just a little bit. Otherwise, it is the perfect little hatchback.
No, it's not better than a GTI.
I like the Focus ST, though. That blue color is pretty cool.
Okay. Can we not talk about that car anymore?
Fine, let's talk about the GTI. So the GTI is the other big one, right? That's like another car that people buy if they're
people buy those.
Yeah.
And it's more adult, it's more grown up, it's more mature, yet it's still fast and fun. It's a great handling car. It's great on the road. It's fun on the track. It's just a good car. It's a solid car. You know, that's why there are hot hatchbacks, is because of the GTI.
The best modern Volkswagen.
Yes, that and the EOS.
You like the EOS?
No, I was kidding.
Oh.
Okay, well that's one opinion. Okay, so what about the Subaru Impreza Wrx?
It's actually not called the Impreza Wrx anymore.
I've noticed
Subaru
that.
Wrx, but I'm a huge fan of the Wrx. I convinced my father to get one last summer, out from an Outback into a Wrx, and that took a lot of convincing. But
what year?
So 2015. So he got it off the lot. It took like 3 months to actually find the car, just because at that time they were in such high demand.
Yeah.
Which is reasonable because it's such a good car.
Yeah.
But I've driven it a lot, and I feel like there's like nothing I can do in that car that I won't have fun doing.
Yeah, that seems like a super cool car. I've driven the STI, and it's really a lot of fun.
I've driven that STI as well. What year did you
The
drive?
newest one.
Okay.
I had a press car briefly, and I drove it. It seemed like a lot of fun, except for the whole wing deal in the back, which I still find
you
to be
don't like
weird.
the wing?
And
You don't have to get the wing anymore.
Yeah,
They-
2016, you can get the little lip.
The wing's better, though.
I don't like that you can see it in the mirror.
I love that.
It blocks your vision. I want to be able to see behind me.
There's nothing behind you. You got a wing.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective on the issue from Travis.
But driving the STI and the WRX back to back, there are like minor differences that I don't know that I would pay the extra 5 to 10 grand.
Yeah, how much more is it?
The price?
Is it that much?
It's 5 to 10 grand. Like my father, he got a base limited, but with leather and whatnot, but no nav. And the nav, the nav unit in that I wouldn't even touch. But 2016, they're changing it up to the Starlink system, the Subaru. But
oh yeah, the new ones, which is pretty good.
Yeah, but in America, the new STI still has the 20-something-year-old EJ. So
that's interesting. So it's probably takes us over the $30,000 price cap for an STI.
It definitely does. It's like 34 starting.
Can you get a WRX under 30?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. They start at like 26 something. My father.
And how much power? WRX at 280?
260-ish.
260-ish.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more than the fantastic Focus ST.
No comparison.
Yes, but this car has four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive.
I'm not comparing the two. The Focus ST is.
You shouldn't, because the WRX is a great car, and the Focus ST is not as good.
Well, yeah, but the Focus ST is cheaper, presumably, right?
They're about the same price.
Really?
Yes.
Really? So you think WRX versus Focus ST? You think
the
makes more sense to buy WRX?
The WRX won the best. It was we ranked it as the best performance car for less than $30,000. The Focus ST was not the best performance car for less than $30,000.
So I would take it, therefore, that you believe the WRX is.
I think the WRX is the superior car. Yes.
In
many, many ways.
The Focus is a hatchback. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, your next thing is gonna be, Subaru should make a hatchback WRX, and they did. You know what? No one bought them.
Yeah.
So
what's that about? Why did nobody buy that?
Because
it was weird looking. Is part of it.
It was not weird looking.
It was weird looking. The whole 08 to 14
It was an ugly car.
Was bizarre looking.
It was a bad looking car.
I wouldn't have bought the early narrow body, but the wide body I like more than
the wide bodies were reasonably attractive, but still the front was enormous and the rear was like this. It's like the new Mazda 3, which is another excellent car, but maybe not
It's not a performance
car. So Subaru BRZ and Scion FRS are obviously the other two cars that everybody's talking about.
They made it because you can slide them around.
What do you guys think?
Well, okay. To preface this, I wanted the Miata to make the top 4 because the Miata is my favorite car of all time.
So we are going to get into the Miata. Okay.
We're going to mention but we did not recommend the Miata.
So the Miata, are we not talking about the Miata then? Or are we
We're
just
not
saying,
talk
we're
about
saying
Miata.
it's not worth?
It's not on the list.
It's
because
no longer worth considering in the NC body style.
I wouldn't consider an NC when you could get an FRS or a BRZ.
Or just wait for an ND.
Yeah, or wait for an ND. But if you want, the FRS and the BRZ are dynamically, I think, fantastic cars. Great steering, great gearboxes. You know, they don't have any of the infotainment fluff that you don't really need.
Yeah. All right. And what do you think of the FRS and the BRZ?
At first I drove the FRS and I was not a huge fan, but that was, I don't know. At the same time I owned a 944, but for some reason I thought that the FRS was underpowered. Getting into it a little more, really getting used to the power that it had, I didn't feel that way anymore. It was more than enough for what I had, for the car that it was, just how dynamic the steering was and the gearbox. It was a great car, just spending more time in it. I just had to get used to the amount of power it actually had.
Don't you think it could use a little more power? Like maybe
it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt, but you can get used to it, and it's more than enough.
Why does it need more power? Why does everything we've talked about why is it contingent on power? It shouldn't be contingent on power. Like, power means literally nothing in the world.
Well, I mean, fine that it needs more torque. It seriously needs more torque. I don't mind.
You don't like revving an engine?
No, I don't. I drive a normal car. I don't want to have to be at 7 million RPM all the time. It would be nice if it had maybe 50. I'm not saying it needs to be a V8 and all that crap. But it would be nice if it had maybe 50 more horsepower and maybe like 60 more pound-feet.
No.
Well, give me an option. Give me the choice. You know?
And if I have to, I guess.
We're talking about WRX. We like WRX at 260 horsepower. We like Focus ST.
And when you compare it, when you're like buying a new BRZ off the lot, a BRZ is only that much cheaper than a WRX. And I know it's not the same people buying a WRX, but it's basically the same motor, just I think different fuel injection system, and then the turbo. The turbo adds 60 horsepower.
Plus all the
from the factory.
Plus 2 more doors.
Right.
So the question is BRZ or WRX?
WRX. Every day.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then Focus ST overall. No, I'm kidding. I would not get a Focus ST over all of them. So maybe we should talk about some cars that didn't make our cut and that we aren't the biggest fans of that are sort of in the same range. Hyundai Genesis Coupe. You guys have any thoughts?
I drove one briefly probably a year ago, and it had the automatic. I don't think it's any like dual clutch or anything, but I was able to throw it around on the Lime Rock autocross, and It was fun, but I don't know how much they go for, but it's not what I would consider. Like,
Yeah.
especially going back to the talk about interior, not a fan. I think I had like blue dash lighting, and it's just not what I would want to look at every day.
Yeah.
There's also the Civic Si, which have you seen a new Civic Si
No,
on the
they're
road?
definitely not as common as they once were.
No, because no one's buying them.
Yeah, I don't
because-
get that.
Well, they
I guess
used-
everybody else got more power now.
when I won't. Yeah, it's the power. That's what it
That
is.
is a big part. You have to admit.
I don't
mean,
think
like,
that's a big part of it.
come on.
You see how many-
everybody wants power.
How many GTIs do you see?
You see GTIs. People like GTIs.
You know how much power the GTI has?
Like 80, 85, I think. Something like that, right? No,
No,
I
I
love
think
the GTI. For the record, I had a GTI. And it was
Well,
a
they're up
great
to
car.
210 now, but they've been at 200 since like 2006.
Yeah, I had no 7, it was 200.
Yeah.
So I'm glad in 8 years they've managed to geek out 10 more horsepower,
Well-
presumably out of the same motor.
Yeah, but the Civic Si has like what, 204?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And I remember back when I was in high school, I'd see that periwinkle deep blue Civic Si
It's a
coupe
great color.
with the it was like a 1.6 or 1.8 with 160 horsepower. You just rev the nuts off of it all the time. You can go anywhere. That's a saying. The kids are using it.
Not in my,
And
not in my parents'
The,
basement,
the
please.
difference is that the Civic has tried to grow up too much, and it doesn't work for the Civic, whereas the GTI has always been somewhat adult. And I think that now they're trying to make the Civic into a boy racer again, but they're taking it's like your grandpa wearing Jenko jeans. Is that still a thing?
It's a little big. So they're saying they're going to bring a Type R here.
I don't see that being under 30 grand.
Yeah.
But who knows? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll believe
I
that when it
suspect.
happens.
You believe that when it happens? You don't think it's going to happen?
But are they
I'll
gonna,
believe it when it does happen.
Are they gonna make a
You
type,
believe it might happen?
type R hatch or no? Just a two-door coupe.
Well, the one they showed in Europe was a hatch, wasn't it?
They
But
didn't
it
show a
wasn't
car.
Type R. Yeah.
They didn't show a
Oh,
car.
that's right. They
at
showed
the-
that
at New
green,
York-
that
at-
bright green
green
concept.
Yeah, they brought the
concept.
bright green concept, which was.
But they said they would bring a Type R.
But they said that we'll consider bringing a Type R,
Right,
and by consider we're gonna have meetings about it. And then a couple days later, it was like 2017 is when we might bring the car.
Calendar or model year? Because model
Model year.
2017 is not that far.
Model
Yeah,
year.
that's next month, I think, is when 2017 start hitting the car.
Yeah, isn't that true?
Yeah.
All right, so what other cars would you not consider under performance cars under 30 grand? We talked
Under
Mustang, we talked Genesis
Mustang.
Coupe, Civic Si is out.
Yeah.
Waiting on the new Camaro, but it's not a car I would really.
Yeah,
go
the new
for. Just
Camaro under
something
the V, because you have to get like a V6
Gotta get a
RS.
V6.
Wouldn't be
like the
right.
rental fleet edition.
The
yeah.
rental fleet edition.
Yeah.
Would be
That car
real
was
good.
really cool when it came out.
Was
with
it?
any oh, people were paying over list.
So there's the Juke.
Ooh.
Juke Nismo Rs.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
So it's less than $30,000.
I like the Juke a lot. The Nismo one, it's like only 15 more horsepower, and it's a lot of body mods.
So I like the Juke.
Yeah.
I like the Juke Nismo. The Juke Nismo RS.
So the RS is above. It's a step above
It's
the
a step
regular
above,
Juke.
and all it gets you are really cool two-piece Recaro seats and a lot of torque steer. It's not a good car.
It looks cool.
It's the gear shift has as much feel as if you
It's a
took-
stick.
You
These are
took it-
sticks.
Yeah. You
What?
can get it in
These are
manual.
manuals?
Yeah.
You get a manual
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the front-wheel drive one. You can't get it in the all-wheel drive one.
Okay.
You got to take it a CVT, which is the enthusiast choice, and then you get a
CVT should be the enthusiast choice.
But if
by
you
the
get
way.
it should be because it's the fastest way to do whatever.
Absolutely.
But if you have the manual transmission, it's like taking a stick and putting it in a bunch of mud, and that's how you shift the car. So that's not ideal
Okay.
at all. Then there's also the 370Z, which it starts at $29,900, and I had a
presumably
car.
there are big discounts on that right now.
Yes.
Because it's been a new car for about 8 years.
The problem with the 370Z is that it's old.
Yeah.
It's like real old. Like there was a lot of updates between when the 350 came out and between the 350 and 370, but the last 370 I drove was like it just feels old. It
Yeah.
kind of is kind of tractory.
I agree with that.
and-
Plus,
yeah.
convertible's expensive, and who wouldn't want a convertible? You know,
Yeah, who wouldn't?
it's super cool. That
The
bright blue.
The
Top
last
down,
convertible
top
we
down.
tested,
You got your Nissan.
Yeah.
we tested a convertible was $50,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Of course, it had the enthusiast choice, the 6-speed automatic, but
Good luck selling that car.
or
That's how it
7-speed
became a press
automatic. I
car.
think it's a 7-speed. We'll get back to you on that. We'll put an annotation in.
Okay, so we've talked them over. If you had 30 grand to spend on a performance car, what would be your top choice?
Subaru WRX 2015, 2016. I'd go right ahead and get it.
WRX,
Yeah.
stick shift.
Manual, yeah. I'd
Blue.
probably get just like my father got. Maybe not World Rally Blue. Probably, actually. But limited
It's the
6-speed.
best color.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's-
WRX.
Miata.
How many used Miatas?
No, we're talking new cars, so I would
Yeah,
buy.
yeah, yeah.
I
Oh, you'd wait for the end.
as of right now, I still haven't driven the ND, but I would buy the ND Miata.
You'd buy the ND Miata. It's not out yet. What if you had to purchase a car today? You had to walk into a dealership on 11th Avenue right now and pick up a car.
Oh, I have to leave with the car?
You gotta leave with the
I couldn't
car.
put a deposit down on a new Miata.
No, you can't. You gotta leave. You gotta drive off the lot with the car. What are you getting for 30 grand today?
Subaru WRX.
WRX. Yeah. As much as I love the Focus, I think the WRX is probably the better choice. I think I would go with the WRX too. 30 grand, there's nothing better. But the Focus is a pretty good car. I'm glad we all agree on that.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for coming in and for sharing your opinions and expertise in my parents' basement.
Thank you,
Lovely
Doug.
place, yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Yeah.
And up next, we're going to talk with Tavarish about what is the best used sports car you can get for under $30,000. Many of you who regularly read Jalopnik know Tavarish as the guy who convinced you to buy a used Maserati for the same price as the new dishwasher you really needed. Now he's here every week to counter our new car bias by finding the best used car you can get for the same price online, culled from reader responses. What do you have for us today, Tavarish?
Well, Doug, as you know, $30,000 is a lot of money, okay? And you can buy a hell of a lot on the used car market. It's actually more money than I spent on my last 5 cars combined.
I can see that.
So we asked our readers, and they gave us the best bang for the buck cars you can get for $30,000 on eBay.
Cool. What you got?
Well, the first one is a 2006 Honda S2000. And that's brought to us by users Bonehead Auto and Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave. Not Hoontastic Dave, not BMW 540 Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, got in on the ground floor at Kinja.
That's just the first guy to sign up.
Yeah, the first guy.
The first Dave.
Well, this S2000 is not your regular S2000, okay? This is one that somebody bought brand new, drove home, put in their garage, and then apparently lost the keys. That's what I think. Because they put it up for sale last week, and it has 5,000 miles on the clock.
5,000 miles on an 06 S2000.
Yeah.
Not really getting your money's worth out of that car.
Well, I understand if it was like a Ferrari Lusso, right? And you have 5,000 miles and you don't want to put a mile on it.
Right,
But it's
but
an
it's
S2, it's an S2000 and it's made for astronomical mileage figures.
Right.
This S2000, it's going for 21 grand on eBay, and the reserve's still on it, so I'm not sure what they really want for the car. Maybe they're trying to make some money off inflation. Who knows? But if it was me, I would get one with maybe 40 to 60,000 miles on it, and you can get about 12 to 15 grand, and you can get a really, really nice one. So for 30 grand, you can get the nicest S2000 in the world, and you have around 15 grand for some choice mods, maybe a 2JZ swap.
I think we can probably agree that for 30 grand, you can swap a 2JZ into a lot of cars.
Well, what about your Hummer?
Yeah, that would probably improve things dramatically. It couldn't make it worse.
That's certainly true.
So what else you got?
Well, the next car we have is a 2008 Porsche Cayman, and that comes to us from a user Alex87F. Now, this Porsche has low miles. It's right under budget at around 28 grand, but it's not the S version. And here's the reason. Alex says that the S version would probably, if you bought an S version for that amount of money, then it would be, you'd have more miles and probably more maintenance issues, and it wouldn't be as good of a daily driver. So, you know, in this case, the base model is probably the better bet.
That makes sense. I think that makes sense. I've always thought the base Cayman. The S is a great car, but I think the base is a pretty good car too. Don't listen to those VW Vortex people. The base Cayman is actually a pretty reasonable automobile.
Listen, the Jetta GL 2.0 is a great car, okay?
Best car, especially when it's lowered. All right, what
And the
else?
oil pan just scrapes the ground.
Nothing like scraping when you're driving into a parking lot.
Yeah, exactly. Finally, we have a 2003 C5 Corvette Z06.
Ooh, Z06.
Now, that's brought to us by users Not Low Review, Something Clever Here, and Traction Control Off, which is not ironic, but it's serendipitous.
Appropriate for,
Yeah,
for this particular situation.
it's definitely appropriate.
How much power these things get?
Well, the 2003 had three, I think it was 385 in the earlier years, and then they had 405 in the later years.
That's big power. That thing will move.
It is. I mean, it did 11s with some drag radials. It'll do 11s. That's like 650S territory.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. This thing's at 11's factory?
Exactly. I mean, what say 10 years ago, right? What can you get for under 30 grand that will do those kind of times?
No, some guy's modded Camaro on Craigslist.
Well, I mean, sure, the interior is cheap and the headlights pop up, and it's pretty loud. But on the bright side, the interior is cheap, the headlights pop up, and it's pretty loud.
True.
So you can buy this car, and you can mod it out to just ridiculous levels, just borderline dangerous, for no money at all.
Yeah, that's a real big benefit with Corvettes.
I'm also told that since the car has such low mileage, it has an aftermarket warranty. Do you know what that is?
I am familiar with the warranty.
Ah.
And if you don't know what an aftermarket warranty is, you've probably never bought a Range Rover from CarMax. Well, thanks, Tavarish.
Thank you.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll be talking about all the cars in the comments below and on Jalopnik. And don't forget to subscribe for some more great Jalopnik content. Thanks for tuning in to What Car Should You Buy? And don't forget to subscribe by clicking this button right here.
Dougie, what are you doing in the basement?
I'm trying to record a show, Mom.
Can you bring my foot bath upstairs?
In a minute.
Angle towards me.
Travis, you did the...
Yeah, Doug.
That's where I want to get you.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
This is so organized compared to Afterdrive.
Tilt a little, go a little bit back.
Who has promised not to only recommend the Mazda Miata MX-5. Also...
Wait. No one
Sorry.
gave me a cue other than Doug going, I don't know, the cheapest person I know. And he doesn't go, hey, Travis, just say hi or something.
Watch that top camera.
Is it Tavarish or Tavarish? I thought it was Tavarish. I'm serious. Tavarish.
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 I like that as like Muslim. It's
I
not-
thought
Call him Freddy.
I thought it was Tavarish until I heard him say it.
His name's Freddy. He's calling himself Freddy in those goddamn videos he's doing.
God damn.
Is this recording?
Boy,
Can
we're
you send
just,
this
we're
message
just
to
dropping
Freddy?
goddamn here left and right. You know, I'm in a.
I'm sorry, Goldern.
Yeah, see, that'd be perfect. If you,
Freddy, go by Freddy on your
yeah,
internet
that'd be
names.
perfect. Do you think you could leave that up?
Thank you.
I'll thank them or whatever. Poor Focus ST.